Two Mizzou graduates teamed up with food and nutrition experts on a formula for high-protein waffles that they say will curb your appetite, decreasing unhealthy snacking. So the two entrepreneurs launched Start Right Foods, selling their frozen waffles. And now they've come up with an innovation for sprayable maple syrup. If anyone told Kyle Rood or Clint Matthews they'd be flipping waffles after graduating college, they wouldn't have believed it. Why should they?
I went to the University of Missouri, went there to be an atmospheric scientist or TV weatherman. One day I was sitting in class and I thought, wow, these people are way more interested in weather than I am.
So Matthews pursued business administration, receiving his MBA, which in a roundabout way is why he's doing this.
And when I graduated, that's when Kyle and I met in the biodesign program at the University of Missouri, which was a one-year fellowship where we both worked. He was the engineer, I was the business person, and then we had a doctor on our team. And we spent a year just going around the hospital, watching all kinds of surgeries. And that's how we got into medical devices, because we came up with a list of problems, came up with solutions for them, and then formed a company around a couple of those ideas.
Kyle Rood is a biomedical engineer.
We worked on that for a year until we ran into a disagreement with the FDA. Essentially, we wanted to market it as a device, and they pushed us towards the drug pathway, which takes a lot more time and money and kind of shot a hole in our business plan.
Reconfiguring their lives, Matthews took a job that led them right back to Mizzou for this new idea.
I had the ability to go around and see all the cool research that was going on at the university. And one of those meetings was with the people that did the research on what eating a high-protein breakfast does to you or for you. And so what they found out is that it actually provides a lot of benefits. And the main thing is it just increases your satiety or makes you fuller throughout the day. And if you eat about 30 grams of protein for breakfast, you will consume about 400 less calories per day.
He had a chance to meet researchers who had invented this recipe for a high-protein waffle and had told me about it and said, we got to try these things. They've got to be great. If you eat a high-protein breakfast, you stay fuller longer. You eat less calories throughout the day, you have less unhealthy snacking, and even over 13 weeks their studies showed that you can reduce your body fat percentage.
So they launched Start Right Foods in St. Louis, boxing their frozen Belgium waffles to be sold in grocery stores. Starting with grocery chains in Missouri and Illinois, their goal is for Start Right to become a household name nationwide. Each waffle has 15 grams of protein. Same goes for pancakes and waffles made from the mix.
So our waffles are packed with egg and dairy protein, so they have all the essential amino acids. Really like a complete breakfast, and all you have to do is pop in the toaster because there's fruits and vegetables in the recipe, and it's a good source of fiber. So you're getting kind of all the things you need in a meal in one easy and convenient product.
Registered dietitian Marilyn Tanner-Blasiar with Washington University School of Medicine believes the #1 skipped meal is breakfast. She says Start Right's protein and nutrients are a great option for someone on the run.
So when we talk about efficiency, when we talk about what's easiest for people, a lot of times breakfast, you wake up late, you've got a lot going on, you got to get the kids out the door, you got to get yourself out the door, you got to get everything together, and you're racing. So in that respect, if it's why not eat a waffle that's got the protein in it.
And she's a believer in the power of protein.
They're finding that getting that protein in, especially as we age, so older people that are trying to keep their muscle mass up so that they can keep their calorie burning going, by getting that extra protein in. And some of the recommendations out there are up to 30 grams of protein at a meal, along with the fruits and vegetables, is a great way to enhance getting that nourishment in. That's good.
These science guys didn't stop there. They tinkered with another idea, coming up with an innovation using aerosol technology and maple syrup.
So we've actually packaged it in an aerosol package that's called a bag-on-valve, and it's 100% pure maple syrup, and you can spray it right on your waffles.
So you have a bag of product inside a can where you have pressurized air. And so literally the syrup doesn't mix with anything, so it's just 100% pure maple syrup, and it expels out because of the compressed air that's in the can. And so what we really focused on is the flow pathway and making sure that because it is syrup, that it doesn't get clogged and become crystallized and that you can reuse it over and over again.
Where we're patenting is a combination and a method so that it doesn't necessarily crystallize when you're using it. Typically, maple syrup has to be refrigerated, whereas this can sit on the shelf. A lot of our consumers that are moms are saying, our kids don't get a mess everywhere. They don't dump syrup everywhere. It's not all over the table. They just aim and spray, and they want to actually get a little bit into each one of the squares in our waffles.
They've enjoyed launching Sprayable Maple Syrup, or is it syrup?
Sprayable maple syrup.
Dude, syrup.
It's syrup.
It's syrup.
Syrup.
It's syrup.
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 And there's actually a map of the U.S. that shows like who says what in what areas, and sadly I have to admit that syrup is said way more commonly than syrup is, but I'm sticking to it.
They are in agreement on one thing. They say they are only at the very start of bringing more great ideas to consumers.
I think I've always been interested in technology and really kind of being on the cutting edge. Like I love reading about SpaceX, for instance, like all their stuff. I'd make my kids watch all the rocket launches and all that stuff. And so it's really fun to not be, for me it's fun to not be complacent and just sitting around doing the norm and what everybody else is doing, but trying to push the boundaries and developing new things. Like that's fun for me. Taking something where there is nothing and creating a market for something, that's a cool thing to go after, in my opinion.
For Innovations, I'm Kathleen Berger.